Okay, let's hit this last law and then let's jump into our evidentiary standards. So, this final one is dealing with principles and accessories after the fact. Let's see what we got here. Any person not standing in the relation of husband or wife, parent, grandparent, child or grandchild, brother or sister, or by consanguinity, that means by blood, okay, or affinity to the offender, who maintains or assists the principal or the accessory before the fact, or gives the offender any other aid, knowing the offender had committed a crime, and such a crime was a third degree felony, or had been an accessory thereto before the fact with the intent that the offender avoids or escapes detection, arrest, trial, or punishment, is an accessory after the fact. All right, let's see what this can carry. This can carry. It's going to meet the same. Okay, so it says if the felony offense committed is a felony of the third degree, ranked in level 1 or level 2, the offense of accessory after the fact is a misdemeanor of the first degree. So after the fact, if you're going to be considered accessory after the fact, it's down one level from whatever the charge was. If you're going to be considered a principal in this, you'll be charged the same way. Okay, so this is one of the this is one of the laws where you really do need a defense attorney because they're going to be trying to get you lower and not be seen as the same as the principal, okay? All right, next and finally, let's go ahead and let's jump into our evidentiary standards. And we're moving a little fast today because, once again, I'm running out of space on this laptop, okay? This laptop doesn't have as much space as my desktop at all, okay? So we'll run through this and let's get to our evidentiary standards next. Well, I don't know what's going on with that. That's not it. Here it is. Okay, so next, our evidentiary standards. We talk about these daily. There's 6 of them, and you can see them here. We'll work our way from the lowest, which is mere suspicion, to the highest, which is beyond a reasonable doubt. All right? Usually, all right, the police are going to be called out, and they're going to be called out due to someone calling 911 or using a non-emergency number or going and flagging the police down. At this level of mere suspicion, this simply means the police don't have any evidence just yet gathered. Okay, they're basing everything based on the dispatch call or the hearsay they received from the person calling in, stating they need some help. Okay, so really and truly, when the police arrive, they don't have any evidence just yet, but they will be on high alert, looking for every violation or crime that they can see. All right. Now, when they move up one level, all right, to reasonable suspicion, this is when the police are going to be able to stop people, and this is when that stop and frisk law comes into play there in Florida. Okay, so that's when 901 151 907.151. That's what that law is. Okay. All right, so that's the stop and frisk there in Florida. Okay, it may be codified where you are also, but if not, the Terry stop rules are good law. Okay, they've been good law since the or actually, I think that case is from the '60s. Terry v. Ohio. Since that law has come into effect, it has been good law since. All right. Basically, when the police reach the level of reasonable suspicion, that's when they can point to specific facts that suggest there's a crime that's happening, about to happen, or just happened. All right. When the police reach this level, they can detain people, they can put you in handcuffs, and you will not be free to leave until they say so. Okay. Now, the thing is, these stops cannot last forever. So somewhere between 30 and 45 minutes should be what you consider to be the limit on these stops. Now, there are certain circumstances when they'll be longer. The easiest thing to remember is when it's going to be longer is if you have a violent crime that happened, then potentially you could be held for longer than that 45 minutes. All right? That's a very easy tip that you keep in mind. But if you're being held under suspicion for some violent crime, it could last longer than 45 minutes. All right. One more at this police level. So you got 3 that happen when you're dealing with the police and having a police interaction. You got mere suspicion, reasonable suspicion, and then you have probable cause. Probable cause is going to be when the police have enough evidence that they're going to make an arrest. All right, and that's going to be our third one. It's going to come up here in just a second. All right, so probable cause, once again, that's when the police have gathered enough evidence that would lead any reasonable officer in their shoes to say, I have enough to make an arrest. All right, and that's usually what's going to happen when they reach that level, okay? Also, at this level, probable cause, this is when the police can go and obtain a warrant if they needed to, either to arrest someone or to go search. This is also the level where the police need to be at if they're going to make a warrantless search, okay? All right, the key thing to keep in mind, probable cause means someone is going to be arrested. Now, with these next 3, 4, 5, and 6, we're all in court. Number 4 is going to be for civil court. That's preponderance of the evidence. That simply means that whatever claim a person is bringing, it's more likely than not that that claim is going to be true. To win, they need to have 51% of the evidence in their favor. To lose, the other side gets 51%. All right. Keep in mind when we talk about civil cases, that's usually where the end result is going to be, where someone's going to be awarded a money judgment. Okay, that's usually what's going on with civil cases. That's the easy way to keep them in line, usually. Now, our next level, number 5, is going to be clear and convincing evidence. Now, it's used both in civil and criminal realms. You see it in the criminal realm just at the very start of a case for a bond situation. Now, in the civil cases, it's going to be used for any of those cases where you have government agencies, all right? And when I say government agency, I mean in your home state, like a Child and Family Services or DHS, something like that, or a workforce or labor department, wherever they're going to call these different commissions in your state. This is the level they're going to be working with when they have to, when they come to court or when they bring people to court. Because of people violating regulations or whatever. All right, but clear and convincing evidence, you also see it used in cases where parents are going to be fighting over their children. It's simply a level where it's going to be necessary that the people involved in the case need to have more evidence in their favor to win. If you're the person bringing the claim, you need to have about 75% of the evidence in your favor to win. Okay, and that's a lot of evidence. Now, finally, we have beyond a reasonable doubt. That's our highest standard. It's used in every criminal case. It's going to be used every time a person is brought to trial for some criminal matter. This level means that there's no other logical conclusion besides the defendant being guilty of the charges brought against them. Okay? For a prosecutor or the state to win these types of claims, they need to have somewhere between 90 and 95% of all the evidence in their favor. All right, so understand that's a very high burden, okay? Now here, I think they will probably reach that burden fairly easily with this woman who ran off without having paid. Okay, so talk about birthday disasters. This video, if nothing else, teaches us that it's a massive lesson to be learned about the company you keep and honoring your gut feeling, guys, okay? Today, the suspect's friends, they knew the vibe was thrown completely off the moment she hopped into the back seat, acting frantic. These other 2 women, they knew that they were being dragged into a legal mess, entirely ruining their day, their evening, probably their whole year. Remember, everyone, intuition is a protective shield. When you're hanging out with someone and they start acting sketchy or weird, trying to evade a bill, go ahead and honor your gut and distance yourself immediately from that person. So, what do you all think about this one? Did the police take the appropriate actions here? Keep in mind, the police were even willing to allow her to go ahead and pay and be let go. Drop your comments below. Be sure to share this with someone young who might still be dealing with the issues of not knowing who exactly is their friends and who's not. Like, share, subscribe. Remember, this is Advocacy Alchemy, and I am Professor Ross. I'll see you tomorrow. I'm on the road, but we'll still produce a video tomorrow. With that, everyone be safe out there, be smart, and have a great day.
I order you to come back tomorrow for another lecture from Advocacy Alchemy. Dismissed.
All right, guys. So once again, thanks for watching with me. I'll be back tomorrow with another video. This one probably won't come out until probably after 12. But hey, it'll be another video tomorrow evening also. With that, have a great day. Be safe. Be smart. See you tomorrow.